Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Late Night Football. And it's not breaking news anymore, but it is still big news as Everton finally sacked Frank Lampard this morning, or my time this morning. Maybe for you it was last night, but depending on where you live, different times. But for me, it was this morning as I found out that Frank Lampard was sacked as manager by Everton Football Club. It's never nice. It's never nice when anybody loses their job. And Frank Lampard genuinely is one of the nice guys of English football, of world football. So it's always it's sad to see him fail, but I think it's the right decision. It's a deserved decision. I've always had a soft spot for Everton Football Club, despite the heartbreaks that I've endured from Everton over the years. There's been different kinds of heartbreaks from Everton, but I've always had a soft spot for them. So it's kind of sad to see them in so much trouble, and they are in a lot of trouble. I don't think sacking Lampard is going to fix everything. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's going to fix a lot, but and it's sad to see. But at the end of the day, this was a decision that needed to be made. It was always a pure disappointment bringing in Frank Lampard because he doesn't really have the experience of a relegation title, relegation race, does he? And he did well to keep them up last season. Got a bit lucky as well, you have to say. But ultimately, this season, I mean, it was always going to be challenging without bringing in the players that he wanted. They're really short on personnel, really short on quality, and you don't know where they're going from here. But Lampard clearly had no idea what to do with this group, and he had no idea how to motivate them, how to get them, to perform. He just felt like he had to go. And the big thing for Lampard to stay as long as he did was the fact that he was sort of the shield in front of the ownership, and that's the bigger issue. Is the ownership is the bigger issue, but he was a shield between them, and I think that's why he stayed as long as he did. But at some point, you got to put your foot down and you got to say, yeah, I mean, you've got to take responsibility for this. And so they did. And he's gone now. The thing for Everton, though, is that there's a lot of trouble behind the scenes that people may or may not be aware about. The reality is they're in deep debt. They're struggling with the payment for they're going to have a new stadium soon. That's going to cost a lot of money. Imagine being in the championship and having a new stadium, but that's going to be a real issue, a real headache as well. It's massive losses that are mounting. The club barely has any money to buy players. I mean, even the signings that have been linked, and it's like Anthony Langa recently was linked with Everton. That's, I mean, as a United fan, even I can say that's not an inspiring signing. That's not a signing that's gonna get you out of relegation. That's not a player that's gonna fight and battle and get you out of there. So for me, it's there's a lot of issues, and I think the problem for Everton goes beyond Lampard, and Lampard was an issue as well as a managerial appointment. But there's bigger issues, and the bigger issues are that there's just nothing in the club. There's no money in the club to make any proper signings that they need to make to bring in the players that they want. And the fans have completely turned on the ownership. I mean, the ownership itself, nobody knows what's going to happen with the club, but the fans have turned on the owner. So there's a toxic atmosphere at the club as well. And I know what that feels like as a United fan. I have a lot of experience with that. And but these are the kind of things that are happening. And I think sacking Lampard is one small step. It's just a step. There's a long road to go, and there's problems to be fixed, and it's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of time to fix that. But what's future? I mean, for Everton, I mean the names that have been linked are a bit uninspiring as well, right? I mean, you've got Ralph Hasenhuttl, you've got Sean Dyche. I mean, Sean Dyche, yeah, he's a relegation survival expert, so you might bring him in, and you might expect an upturn in fortunes. The fact is, he's going to build he's going to build a team that could possibly survive relegation. It's going to be uninspiring, boring football, isn't it? Do the fans want that? I mean, at this point, I don't think it matters. I think they need whatever they can to try and stay up. So I don't think that there's a choice there. But it's an uninspiring appointment. It's not a long-term visionary appointment, is it? It's a short-term try and get out of relegation and then see where we are at kind of appointment. And then you've got Ralph Hasenhuttl. Hasenhuttl, I think if there's a one manager who's not suited for a relegation, for to bring in January and try and fight battle relegation, I think that's Hasenhuttl because at the moment, and especially in a club like Everton, where there's already so much of negativity, so much of frustration, right? As Hasenhutl's teams, they win games and they lose games, and then when they lose badly. They lose badly. You don't want that. I don't know if Everton fans can handle that. So I mean, it's probably between the two. I think Sean Dyche is probably the likelier appointment. I mean, there might be other names as well mentioned. I mean, the names keep getting thrown out. There's also talk of a temporary appointment, till the end of the season. So that kind of tells me that maybe the Everton board themselves are not sure whether the club will be able to survive in the Premier League this season. So there's all sorts of things and lots of permutations, combination. I don't know what is the right answer. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't claim to know what the right direction is either. But there are problems. There are massive problems at Everton, and I don't know how that's going to be solved. For Lampard, it just didn't work out, did it? It never worked out. I do think tactically he's limited. And it happens with a lot of English managers. A lot of them don't, for some reason, English managers just don't have the ability to invent and reinvent themselves. I don't know what it is about English managers. I mean, we saw it with Steven Gerrard, we saw it with Gary Neville. There's just something about English managers that there's this bubble that they exist in, and they just don't. I don't know. They're unable to get out of it. And the moment things start going a little bit differently than what they imagine, they're unable to course correct. So that's the problem for Lampard. I do think that it will be a while before we see him in management again. Definitely a while before we see him in a high profile job, at the at the top level. And he's got Derby, he's got Chelsea, he's got now he's at Everton, and really only Derby is the only one that you could say was kind of successful. Some Derby fans will say that it was about par what he achieved there, but definitely Chelsea was a failure. Definitely Everton has been an abysmal failure. So where does he go next? I don't know. Might want to try his hand abroad. Maybe try the Scottish League, or maybe go into the continent. That might be an option, and hopefully he looks into that. But I don't know how keen he will be to continue in management. It is a tough job, but to me, I think Lampard's stocks has definitely dropped considerably, and I don't know what club would now want to be wanting to take a chance on him in the future. So that's there with that, and wish him. I mean, all I can say is hopefully he does get back on his feet, and hopefully he finds something. If he's interested in continuing management, hopefully he'll be able to find something again. But it is a sad moment. It's a sad moment for Frank Lampard. It's a sad moment for Everton as well. I mean, what, 6 managers in 7 seasons now? It's just it's a roller coaster, isn't it, of sorts? And they're gonna have to do it all over again. They're gonna try and find another manager, try and be able to rebuild again. Do they have the funds to do that? Do they have the patience to do that? There's so many things. So let me know. But let me know in the comments, Everton fans, if you're an Everton fan, even if you're not an Everton fan, let me know what you thought about Lampard's time at the club. I mean, he did help to get them out of relegation last season, so that's something. But what do you think needs to change? Not just with the manager, but behind the scenes, what needs to change? Let me know in the comments. Of course, always love to hear from you guys. And do remember to smash a like if you enjoyed this video, and do subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Please to support us. We love your support, and we want to continue producing content. So your support really helps us do that. So please do that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again very soon. Bye.